I want to tell you about the most motivated I have ever been in my entire life. It was January 1st, 2022. I had just watched a 47-minute motivational compilation on YouTube. David Goggins was screaming at me, while Smith was explaining the secret to success. Some guy I'd never heard of was telling me that successful people wake up at 4 a.m. If I wasn't doing that, I was basically choosing failure. I was fired up. I grabbed my notebook. I wrote down 14 goals for the year. I reorganized my entire life on paper. I made a vision board at midnight. I was going to learn Spanish, start a business, get ABS, read 50 books, wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, and become an entirely different human being by March. I went to sleep that night feeling absolutely unstoppable. January 3rd, I did nothing, not one single thing from that list. I wasn't tired. I wasn't busy. The motivation I felt 2 days earlier had simply evaporated, gone, like it was never there. And I sat there looking at my 14 goals and my vision board, and I thought, what is wrong with me? Nothing was wrong with me. The problem was I had confused excitement with infrastructure. And today I'm proving with science, with math, and with brutal honesty, why the most boring habit you can build will always beat the most exciting motivational video ever made. Stay elevated. Real talk. I spent 3 years chasing motivation like it was a person who kept standing me up. Every few weeks I'd find a new source, a new podcast, a new book, a new YouTube channel, a new quote that felt like it was written specifically for my soul. And every single time, same pattern. Day 1, unstoppable. Day 2, pretty good. Day 3, okay. Day 4, what was I even motivated about again? Day 5, Netflix. I called this the motivation hangover. The higher the motivational high, the worse the crash. I watched a 2-hour Tony Robbins documentary once and felt so inspired I couldn't sleep. I wrote 6 pages of plans. I was going to change everything. I followed through on exactly 0 of those 6 pages. Here's the realization that changed everything. Motivation is a weather event. It arrives without warning, feels incredible while it lasts, and disappears just as suddenly. You cannot build a life on weather. You build a life on infrastructure, on systems, on habits so boring they require 0 emotional investment to execute. Boring is not the enemy of progress. Boring is the engine of progress. Here's what neuroscience actually says about motivation, and this is going to permanently change how you see it. Motivation is not a character trait. It is not something some people have more of than others. It is a neurochemical state, specifically driven by dopamine, that your brain produces temporarily in response to novelty, reward anticipation, and emotional stimulation. Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford has explained extensively that dopamine is not actually the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. It fires hardest before you get the thing, not after. This is why a new goal feels so exciting on January 1st. Your brain is flooded with anticipation dopamine. And this is exactly why by January 3rd that same goal feels boring. The novelty has worn off. The anticipation dopamine has dropped. Nothing has changed about the goal, only the chemical state of your brain. Second fact, and this one will sting. Neuroscientist Dr. Wendy Wood at USC spent 30 years studying human behavior and found that approximately 43% of daily actions are not driven by decisions or motivation at all. 43%. Nearly half of everything you do every single day is habit, automatic behavior running on autopilot without any emotional input whatsoever. The people you admire most are not more motivated than you. They have simply automated more of the right behaviors. Their success is running on autopilot while yours is waiting for a feeling. Third, the habit loop. MIT researchers identified the neurological pattern behind every habit: cue, routine, reward. Once a behavior completes this loop enough times, it moves from the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain, into the basal ganglia, the automatic behavior center. At that point, the behavior no longer requires motivation, willpower, or emotional investment to execute. It just runs, like breathing. This is the boring stack. 3 habits, and glamorous, and sexy, completely undefeatable. Habit 1, the anchor habit. Every powerful habit system needs one anchor, a single behavior so small and so consistent that it becomes the foundation everything else attaches to. Not meditation for 45 minutes. Not journaling 3 pages in the morning. Not a complete lifestyle overhaul. One tiny anchor habit that takes less than 2 minutes. Examples: placing your gym shoes by the door every night before bed, opening your laptop and your work document, just opening it, nothing else, writing 1 sentence, just one, in your progress journal. The anchor habit is not designed to produce massive output. It is designed to trigger the routine that produces the output. James Clear in Atomic Habits calls this the 2-minute rule. Scale any habit down to a version that takes 2 minutes or less and start there, because the hardest part of any habit is never the habit itself. It's the start. The anchor eliminates the start problem entirely. Habit 1 installed. Habit 2, the consistency window. This is the habit that makes boring work forever. You choose a window, not a goal, not an outcome, a window. A protected block of time that belongs entirely to your most important work. Same time, same place, same duration, every single day. No inspiration required, no motivation needed, no vision board consultation necessary. The window arrives. You show up. You work until it closes. Here's the science behind why this works when goal chasing doesn't. Psychologists call this implementation intention. A study by Peter Gollwitzer at New York University found that people who specified exactly when and where they would perform a behavior were 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through than people who simply set a goal. I will write every day, weak intention, high failure rate. I will write at 7 a.m. at my desk for 45 minutes every morning. Implementation intention, dramatically higher completion rate. The window removes the daily decision entirely. You don't decide whether to show up. You just show up because the window is open. Habit 2 installed. Habit 3, the reward reframe. This is the habit that makes the whole stack permanent, and it's the one most people never build. Motivation culture tells you to chase big exciting rewards. The dream body, the successful business, the financial freedom. And those rewards are real, but they are too far away to fuel daily behavior. Your brain needs a reward that arrives the same day as the effort. The reward reframe is simple. You attach something you genuinely enjoy to the end of every single work session, no matter how small. Not food, not screen time as a default. Something that signals to your brain, this session was worth it. A specific playlist you only listen to after a completed session. A walk outside, a cup of your favorite coffee made exactly how you like it. Every time you complete the window, the reward fires. Every time the reward fires, dopamine links to the habit. Every time dopamine links to the habit, the behavior moves one step closer to automatic. You are not hacking your discipline. You are engineering your dopamine to work for your habits instead of against them. Habit 3 installed. The boring stack is complete. The elevator's watching this. I need you to understand something that took me 3 years to learn. Exciting motivation and boring habits are not competing against each other on a level playing field. Motivation shows up twice a month, stays for 48 hours, and leaves without explanation. Boring habits show up every single day, in the rain, in the bad moods, in the low energy weeks, in the seasons when nothing feels exciting about the goal anymore. And compound interest doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about consistency. 1 boring hour today, 1 boring hour tomorrow. 365 boring hours across 1 year, each one building on the last while you slept. That is not exciting. That is not Instagram worthy. Nobody is making a motivational compilation about the person who quietly showed up for their boring habit on a Tuesday afternoon when they really didn't feel like it. But that person is winning. The most successful people you admire are not the most motivated. They are the most boring, in the best possible way. They automated the right behaviors and stopped waiting for a feeling to tell them when to move. Motivation fades. Boring habits last forever. System activated. Delete your vision board app. Keep your anchor habit. If this just made boring feel like a superpower, drop system activated in the comments. I want to see every single one. Share this with someone who has been waiting to feel motivated before they start. They have been waiting for weather. Send them this instead. And if you have been building with Kends Elevated from the beginning, you now have the morning routine, the procrastination fix, the overthinking circuit breaker, the productivity system, the daily hour protocol, and now the boring stack. You are not just watching videos. You are building an elevated life, 1 boring habit at a time. New revelations drop every week. Until then, the system is ready. Now elevate.